Hey guys, Baruch here with Waywire. The news world is evolving faster than ever. With social news like Reddit and Twitter, and of course the blogosphere, it's sometimes hard to distill what really matters. So we're sitting down with a true icon. Dan Rather was the anchor of CBS Evening News for 24 years, and we're going to get his perspective on what he calls good and valuable news. Mr. Rather, thank you for having us in your office.
Well, thank you for coming.
With the development of the digital news world, every blogger now has a platform, has an audience, and doesn't really have anybody filtering or moderating. How do you make sense, and how should the consumer who's not in the news world make sense of all the voices out there?
Well, it's hard, but I want to say as a preference, I want to answer the question that the internet is the future. In that sense, the future is now. If it isn't true already, I believe it to be true already, but if it isn't true already that the internet is where most people get their news, it soon will be. Where we are with the internet, you have to be an intelligent consumer of what's on the internet and be able to take opinion, maybe even outrageous opinion, into account. But somewhere on the internet, probably several places, you need to find places where you say, I think this is a credible, experienced journalism organization effort or journalist, and go to that at least as a touchstone during the day while you gobble up everything else you want.
You've described what you've called good and valuable news. How would you define that?
You know, the basic definition of news is whatever is interesting and important. Now, the best news story is a story that's both interesting and important. But we all know sometimes important news may not strike people as all that interesting. So the challenge is to make important news as interesting as you can.
How does one avoid censorship? I think you call it censorship, while still focusing on their commercial interests.
If you're the decision maker for putting together a newscast, either on television or radio, or for that matter on the internet, you're trying to do quality journalism with integrity. There's no avoiding the fact that you have people above you, and the larger the news organization, the farther they are up above you and the more powerful they are, that they're not interested in your discussion of what's ethical journalism or what's quality journalism, integrity journalism. They want the ratings, they want the demographics. As dedicated as you may be, as integrity-filled as you're trying to be, the reality is when the rating scoreboard goes up and the demographic scoreboard goes up, you've got to score pretty highly, or you're going to be doing another line of work.
You've been delivering incredible investigative pieces with Dan Rather Reports. What story out there right now do you think most needs to be told?
Wow, it's a long list. There's far less reporting, almost none, on the hungry, the homeless, the heartsick, the helpless, the people who have come to believe that they were without hope, that the underbelly of the world's population, 6 billion people plus, the underbelly of it is in that category, and none of us do enough reporting on that.
What keeps you curious, Mr. Rather?
I have a passion for it, that I've always been curious. It's one mark of a reporter. Listen, I can be dumb as a fence post about a lot of things. I'm not the smartest guy around by a long stretch. But what keeps me going is curiosity. I love to learn. And being in journalism, it's like being in constant graduate school. Every day out, I learn something. When my feet hit the floor every morning, when they hit the floor this morning, I'm saying, can't wait to get to work, because I'm going to learn a lot today, including in this interview, learning about Waywire.
Mr. Rather, thank you.
Thank you very much. Godspeed.
What an interesting conversation. You know, as somebody who's in the news, who's always wanted to be in the news, it really is so inspiring to learn from a true icon in the world of news. And you know, going into this conversation with Mr. Rather, I was really thinking about the internet as what's revolutionizing the way we consume news. But not long ago, TV was in that same position. Ultimately, though, we're still looking for the same things. The foundations of news haven't changed. We're looking for credible, reliable sources that deliver us with information that's both interesting and important.